Hello and welcome to Heather and Hops. My name is Kat or Catherine and I'm a knitter based in Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom. This has been my little place on the internet where I have documented my knitting jogging journey from day one and my first project through to now, where I am committed to a 6-year project or adventure, and I'm currently in my 3rd year of doing so. This platform has been amazing for connecting me with makers like yourself throughout the journey, and I really hope that continues to grow. So, I'm hoping to share with you 5 of my favourite or speediest really gift knits, but before that I will share my usual knitting adventures, I guess. Today I'm wearing my Caligal Dana with a little top underneath. It's a top that I designed and wear throughout the year, and this is in a yarn that I will show you another project with in just a little bit. I'm also wearing a finished object, which is a hat. It was made up as I went along. I've kind of got an idea of gauge when it comes to my knitting with Let Loppy, which is one of my favourite rustic yarns. It's super affordable, a little bit itchy for some people, but I find it to be fine personally. I think this is the Black Sheep Heather colourway, and I really love this colour, and I kind of wish I had more. It was the same yarn that I knitted my Tracer jumper by Jennifer Steingass in, and that gets a lot of wear, and I saw that I had a skein left and I just knew that I needed a super plain comfy hat. So yeah, this is very simple. I think if I remember correctly, I have put the information of how I did it on my Ravelry project page. If I haven't and you're interested, hassle me and I will try and type out the notes from my book. So there's that. From basically exactly the same pattern, yeah, it is exactly the same pattern. I'm gonna pop my drink down. I always have a drink with me. Today I don't have any hot drink because I'm filming past midday and I'm not quite ready for my daily chamomile or ginger, which is something that I've been favouring recently. So I'm just having a mug of water, but in a festive mug because festive. But this one has been worn loads already as well, and this is basically the same hat. I think it has the same cast on amount and everything. I knitted this one a bit longer so the fold's a bit nicer, I'd say, and I just love how the tops come out. Really pleased with this. This is Snelden 3-ply. I've probably said that wrong, I'm really sorry if I have. It's really quite difficult to remember and to like search for pronunciations before recording, and it's not something I often have to speak, like even when I'm talking to my partner Alex, I don't have to say I'm like this yarn. So that's something I'm hoping to get better with. But I love this yarn, it blooms really nicely, and actually the lanolin, when it was washed out, it lightened quite significantly and I'm not upset. I really like this. This was spare yarn from my Favo sweater, which is a pattern by Fibre Tales. A really gorgeous pattern to work actually. If you haven't seen it, I do highly recommend going and checking out the pattern. I will pop a link down below, along with as many links to things that I talk about as I can. I try and be quite thorough with it. But yeah, 2 very simple hats. But like I said, I've been craving sort of more simple knitting the last few weeks, and these have really fitted the bill and really been quite relaxing to work on. Especially, I think maybe it's partly to do with it being darker, but my goal for the first 3 years of my knitting journey is to hone in skills, and I think simple knit and purl hat, it can't be, and gift knit, I'm just saying, these are fantastic. This one, so I can't believe I finished this one really, but it seemed to knit itself. I had cast on just 4 rows of it, and I mentioned previously that it's the only project that I've kept so poorly. Like, half of the stitches were not on the needles, and I'm not sure if that was because I was going to rip it out or not. And it might have been because I was unsure of the yarn. And that's because it's a West Yorkshire Spinners Air Valley, I believe it's called, and it has nylon in it, and I'm a bit but I want to use the stuff that I've got, and I think it would be a shame not to. So I decided to carry it on, and I'm really glad that I did, because I love the colour and it's quite festive. It's very festive. This might be my, you know, Christmas jumper this year. I will wear my Betty and Judy Lodge sweater, I'm sure. I haven't worn it yet, but there's definitely time. I love the shaping on this. This is the Ducot by Kate Davies. And it is a fairly simple raglan jumper, but the shaping is really lovely. I hope that runs across all sizes. I kind of feel like Kate Davies is one of those designers that does manage to do that, but I haven't knitted and I can't speak for that. But this came out beautifully and didn't use that much yarn really. I guess that's because it's cropped, but it is fairly oversized on the width, and on the sleeves it's a really nice fit. I love this little detail. I am a tiny bit of a rebel, and I ignored the instructions for the Ducot rib, which utilises slip stitches, and like I was saying, I was really wanting something that I didn't have to think about, and twisted rib is kind of second nature to me. It doesn't make much difference on my knitting. So I was very happy to go ahead with twisted rib, and I do love the effect that that gives. And I opted to, I think I added just an inch onto the end and reduced the length of the ribbon that Kate suggests. And again, that's not because I don't like her design, that's purely because that's the way I wanted it, and I feel like for me personally I'll get a lot more wear from it with that. I also opted to not change needles at all, and again that was, I didn't really, well, I should say, I changed needle size on the sleeve, but I didn't on the body, and I kind of wanted it to stay straight rather than cinching in, and again that's to do with the type of clothes I wear and just the fit I like, but I'm really pleased with how it came out, and I can definitely imagine wanting to knit another one of these. I think the shape is really gorgeous, and even the colour of this and the yarn, I'm hoping that because it has the nylon in, it's going to last quite a long time. I'm hoping to invest in a gleamer this year so that I can be a little bit more careful with my knits. That's not to say that I'm going to stop wearing them as often and as much as I do, because I do believe that we should wear our knits, especially when they're our favourite. Yeah. The pattern was also a gift, and that knitter was very kind and gifted me a couple of patterns a little while ago, and I was kind of thinking about her every time I was knitting it, and that was also quite a treat, I've got to say. Like, this was a pattern that I'd wanted and couldn't justify spending money on, and it was a gift, and it's just lovely. So I'm really happy with this, and it's got some nice memories knitted into it now. And yeah, highly recommend this little pattern if you're after a beautifully fitted raglan jumper. The only thing I would say, while I remember, I am not the best at picking up stitches on collars. I think I've done a pretty decent job on the back, but there is just one little niggle on the front, I think, but overall it still came out pretty good, I think. I do think that part of knitting is improving on my part. I should try and dig out a jumper and do a comparison someday. But I am really impressed with the finish of this. I was asked already where I bought it, and I was quite proud when I said, oh, I made it. So that's that. I do have kind of more finished objects. This one is very silly, but we aren't very sensible around here. A little bit. We try and be caring, but it makes a noise. If you're not familiar and you're fairly new here, welcome first of all. I should have said that up front, but I am, but this is little Audrey. Little Audrey is a very relaxing and also kind of fun at times part of the Heather and Hops world, so to speak. And about 5 years ago, I crocheted her this rather ghastly looking Christmas scarf, and all it was some half double crochets in white acrylic or cream acrylic and red, and then I made a little chain that I then weaved the end together so it was quite a tight circle, and you could push this end through and it sits around little Audrey's neck, and you can make it a little bit tighter or looser. And because it's so light and very inoffensive, she was quite content to wear it, and she only wore it while we were in the house or in the room, but it just made everything a little bit more festive at Christmas. But that really is aging very badly, isn't it, little Mai? So with my love of mohair and these little scraps, I think it's so cute, I knitted Audrey this one, and I have noted down the stitches I did, so if anyone would like to make one, I'll pop it again. I'll put the instructions on my Ravelry page. And then I just simply added some jingle bells for cuteness, and I did the same. So this one is knitted as opposed to crocheted, but I did do a little, like 10 chains or something, and then wove the end together, and it sits really gorgeously around her neck. That's just so sweet. Sorry. But I ordered a gift for a friend, and I haven't been able to share it online, and that's online on Instagram, and I've really wanted to, but one of my friends is particularly naughty for, if you share something that's helping a friend of a friend and supporting a small business and they like it, they'll purchase it for themselves. And I've already purchased her Christmas present, and I really am nervous that she would have bought one for herself. She won't see this, but I ordered her a matching tag and necklace from the Wild Pup company, which is Sophie and Marnie, and not only did I get a very sweet Christmas card from both Sophie and Marnie, her dog, little Audrey got a tag too, and I will come closer, and it's just so sweet. I think you'll agree, it definitely goes with, how sweet is that? A candy cane. It sorry, you have to excuse me, I've been using ink, so I have inky fingers. But little Audrey has some very fancy festive clobber, and I can't thank Sophie enough. The speed in which they were sent, and then to be sent a lovely gift for little Mai. But I do recommend having a little look in at Etsy. I think quite a few of the things have sold out, which is really nice. And Sophie is Steph of the Woolen Witch's sister, so it's just really nice. I would really like to, I wanted to give that back because Steph has been very sweet to me, both by coming and chatting with me in our little festive podcaster indie maker chat that we had a few weeks ago, and also sending us some lovely yarn and stitch markers for our wedding gift box, which was really sweet. And I feel like I'm talking really fast again. I do this every week. I'm really sorry. I don't want to be chaotic, but I don't know, it's quite exciting to get to talk to you because, as you can imagine, it's pretty strange around here right now, isn't it? Not being able to go out as much or see friends and things. especially at this time of year where it's usually like really full on with human interaction. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope that even if I feel like I'm being chaotic, I am bringing you a moment of calm and some good company whilst you're making. I will save my final finished objects for my little last minute gifts segment, so to speak. It's not really a segment. And share with you my WIP. It's still kind of stuffed into this bag, even though I do have a bag perfectly for it to fit in. And this is not by accident. This is purely to remind me that it's here, because I haven't worked on it in a little while, and that's not a bad thing. It's purely because I have been doing Christmas knitting, which I hope to share with you next week. Well, not next week, but the next full podcast. I don't want to share things I've been making for family, just in case they decide to watch, and then it would be a sad surprise ruined. Or friends, but I'm sure friends won't be watching, but you know what I mean. So this is kind of a reminder, hey, when you get a chance, do some knitting on me. And this is my Scotland shawl, which if you've been here for a while, you'll have seen numerous times, so I won't show you, but I have plenty of Jameson and Smith yarn in here. I have ordered one more backup ball because I had an inkling feeling that I might have needed more than anticipated, and I wanted to make sure I got the same lot number. But they're all living in here, and this is Jameson and Smith 2-ply in colours that I felt would be very wearable and also go with a lot of things I own, while also kind of, you know, representing the landscape of Scotland a bit. So here she is. She has been steeked, and I'm really happy with her so far. She's got one loosey-goosey end that will be protected soon enough, and one end which I'm halfway through a row because I'm a naughty little tinker. But we are on to the wing and the lace. I know that if I pick this up, I won't stop knitting on it. As you can see, I've finished three quite large sections, I think, or maybe even 4, since I last shared. And I have had to stop because otherwise I would forget about Christmas knitting and just keep knitting on this, which, though not totally a bad thing, you know, I'll have as much time after the new year as I want, or even over Christmas, to knit on this, so. But I am really enjoying it. I have done a lot of the changes that I'd wanted to in the written pattern, so once I've done a bit of weighing for this section, I should be able to send this to a couple of people to sort of alpha test it. There are things with it that I'm uncomfortable with my description of, or how to include, and I would just like a couple of more experienced test knitters to be able to guide me in that. I'm not convinced that I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not convinced that a tech editor, though my one's fantastic, but would be quite comfortable with some of the notes that I've got so far, but a knitter seeing it and doing it at the same time might be. So that's coming quite soon, I think, and I'm really happy with it so far. I'm quite looking forward to wrapping up in this when it starts to snow. I'm hoping kind of that in the new year I'll be able to go outside and wrap up Toasty. She's so sweet. But that's that. So that is all the WIPs I've got to show you. Like I said, I have a few, sorry, mohair, works in progress that kind of would be nice to share, but I've got my Flowers for Yasha, My Secret Little Crop by Jessie May, but I've just knitted an inch of ribbing, which like further from when I last showed, so that's kind of not worth showing. And about the same on my Eastwind jacket, which I'm really enjoying knitting, but again, Christmas, so that's not being knitted. I've done about 1 inch again as a treat the other evening after I wove in ends in 4 gifts or 5 gifts. I allowed myself a little bit of mohair and Jacob fleece, which is, Jacob fleece is a West Yorkshire spinners yarn that I love. So I allowed myself that for a bit. And then other than that, it really has been predominantly gifts, which has been really fun actually, and most of them have been Speedy, so I will hit pause quickly because I will probably run out of time. So yeah, I thought that it would be nice to share, I wouldn't say this is my top 5, but ones that I've done either recently, well, yeah, inspired by knits that I've done very recently. These are 5 very quick gifts, because I have been knitting socks for gifts, and I love knitting socks when they're getting gifted for sure, and I think they're a great project personally for playing D&D with, but they're a lot of work, and especially if you're trying to make matching socks for people or matching gifts. So I thought it would be fun to share what I've been doing other than the socks. So I have been knitting hats. Now, hats very much like this. This one is a bit smaller. I have an example here. I'm not going to talk about who this yarn's by, and that is my own prerogative. I don't want to promote this company anymore. I'll insert a bit of footage from what my hands look like after knitting with it, potentially, but it's not very good. But it is on a 4.5mm or 5mm needle, and I'm holding quite a lot of yarn here. I'm holding an alpaca base and then 3 merino singles together, and I've been knitting quite a few of these and making them so that it's simply double brim and then stockinette or ribbing like this, or triple, so it's rolled, folded, not just once but twice on itself like this one is, but a bit chunkier. And I've been really enjoying this, and I have been making this up as I go along. I've got a rough idea again of what stitch count I need, but if you're after a pattern that is very similar, one of my friends, Georgia, has been knitting the Down South beanie by Witra Design, get that wrong, but it is available in numerous languages as well as English, and that uses a 4.5mm needle, I believe, and I think it's up to 200 grams of yarn, but maybe it's only 150 for the smaller sizes, so that's quite a good speedy pattern if you can knit a hat on 4.5mm or 5mm needles. I think that's a good gift, and a hat's, you know, especially one that's got ribbing, is going to fit a multitude of sizes, and you can never really have too many beanies. I think, as Alex has expressed, having a few to choose from, and actually different temperature ones like this will be nice and warm this winter. So that, I think that's a very good gift, and again that will be for anyone, and you could do matchy for little babies and kids and, you know, couples, families even. So I think this is a really great gift, and again you could do that in an evening if you know, sat down to a Christmas film or two, which is never a bad thing, and a very good excuse to do so, if I don't say so myself. What was the next one? The next one I thought about was the Speedy Selby mittens. Now, I haven't knitted those this year, but I did knit them last year, and it's a pattern by Skeined In Knits, and from memory I think it's Aran weight, so they're colour work but they're Aran weight mittens on 5 or 3.5 ish from memory needles, and you only need 50 grams of each colour, so perfect for Let Loppy, or even Drops Alaska maybe, something kind of like that. So you can get, there's so much choice for that, and Skeindi's patterns are always very clearly written, very easy to adjust your gauge, very easy to check what adjustments you might need to do up front, and they're very clear and very lovely. So that's not that great of a description, but that is a pattern that I would very much recommend. Even if you're fairly new to colour work, that's a very good pattern for being introduced to it, and also understanding the mechanics and techniques of knitting Selby mittens, but quickly, without, you know, spending too many hours working with Jamieson and Smith 2-ply, which might be my favourite mittens I've ever knit. And those, I've got them just here. Should I get them? I'll get them. And these ones were the Evia mittens. Really, really fun to knit. Gorgeous pattern. I love the Latvian braid, but anyway, these take a bit longer, but still a lovely gift if you are feeling very kind to anyone in particular, and kind of fun to, if you're giving matchy gifts, to do inverted ones, which is potentially what I'm going to do next year. I'm going to try and write a list of people that I'd like to gift for in December, and then actually knit things throughout the year next year, and I think these are going to be high up on there. I have an example of this pattern. I'm going to have to get that again. I have an example of this one, the Draco. I will have to put that on the screen again. I'm really sorry. I do feel like as Brits we need to try more. So if you want to correct me with information on how to pronounce things, I would not be offended. But this is a headband by Fibre Tales. I think this one I adjusted. I am a bit of a tinker. I will look at a pattern and go, oh okay. So this is slightly different, and I knitted it, from memory, I knitted it on smaller needles, and that was purely because I only used a DK and a mohair, and I love the colours. I'm not gonna tell you who the mohair is, but the black is just a Drops nipple in black. And these are really good gifts. Personally, I think it's quite good for indoor-outdoor wear. If you make it slightly chunkier, it's obviously going to be a lot warmer in the current weather. I have knitted one of these this year for a gift. It's much chunkier. I did it, as Lerka actually explains, on 5mm needles, and it's much thicker and it's lovely, but I'm not going to show you just in case A, the recipient's watching, and B, well yeah, that's why. And it's wrapped. It's already wrapped because I try to be organised. But this uses, I think it's about 120 to 150 metres of yarn. So it uses very little. I mean, you could do a few less stitches and do it from even less yardage, meterage, which again makes it great for stash busting, as well as being able to make matchy from skeins of yarn, or holding DK double, you know what I'm saying, like it's a very good versatile pattern. The other one I wanted to mention is the Secret Little Crop by Jessie May, and that's because I found it to be a bit more consistent with sizing than the other one. Not Jessie May's amazing at inclusivity, but a few of us have had funky things happen with the gauge with the other one, the Summer Top. But the Secret Crop uses very little yarn, like, because it is a crop top, but I think it varies from sort of 250 to 1500 metres maybe for the largest size, so, and that's on 3.75mm needles. So you can knit it pretty quickly for a garment, and I think as a gift it's a lovely thing. In the winter it's really nice under thermals, I'm not gonna lie, it's like having a little cuddle. And then in the summer I was just wearing it as basically a top, and then layering it differently without. I've actually been wearing it over the top of one of these recently, which has been quite nice. Just a very wearable, very easy to adjust item. Given that it's ribbed, it's quite forgiving too, and you can be so playful with the colours. You could hold fingering weight double to create mild effect, using up all of your scraps. You can just, I think it's a great pattern. And then finally, this is a bit fingers crossed, but I whipped up these two yesterday. The day before I knitted two more, and these are little dice bags, which if you're a D&D player you'll probably recognise, you know. You might be able to tell that both of these have the remainders of this yarn in, and these are great for using scraps. I think the smallest one, which is, these are both the smaller ones just with different items inside them, uses 115 meters of yarn. The largest uses 205. A great gift. 4mm needles. This one actually, you don't have to be a D&D player to have these. I think they're great for kind of everything. I thought it would be really cute to put socks in this year. Instead of wrapping paper, it's reusable. It can be given back if someone might not find it useful, but it's useful for so many things. I think I'm going to knit myself one for storing my face mask in my bag. I have a rucksack and things. I like things to be organised as it is, and I just think it would be a bit better to keep one in a little pouch. So I'm going to knit myself one of these. And I have hopefully by now already put this pattern online. It's up there for free. It's kind of a Merry Christmas to everyone. This one was knitted for my lovely partner, whose character is called Fuggle, and that is where the name of the pattern comes from. Fuggle is a little halfling who, though very small, is very stout and strong and always carries a pouch of hops on him. I have, if you're watching Alex, put your hands in your ears, this is for Alex, but I've ordered him a matching set of dice that should look like a sparkly ale, and I'm really excited by that. So that's available for free. I thought it was just a really nice thing to knit. This one I knitted without any cabling. The details are to add a single cable, add double cables, and I will pop some more pictures of the other ones I've knitted on the screen if I can. Alex always giggles at me for my ability to put pictures in the wrong timings and forget to put them in, so I will do my best. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with this and how well it came out. I didn't anticipate it and how useful I think they're going to be. The pattern has options for braiding, so these sort of twisty ones, and also just a normal plaited braid, and completely customizable. I've put notes in where and how to add circumference and depth. Yeah, really pleased with this. If you're a D&D player and you're going to make one, feel free to share your stories, your characters with me, because it's really fun seeing it. I've already seen or heard of one being knitted up and it's really cute. I can't wait to see more. But yeah, that one is up on my Ravelry, and I will hopefully also have put it on Lovecrafts and Payhip so that those that aren't using Ravelry can also have a little look. But I'm really chuffed with them. I will, because of the nature of this and the fact that I really do want people to dig into their stash and use it like mohair. Those scraps of mohair would be super cute, but if you're going to put socks and gifts in them, maybe don't use mohair. But anything that you're knitting at 4mm, you could use for these. You could adjust your needle size, and then where I've to add circumference or reduce circumference, you can do so within it. Like, yeah, really happy with this. I hope that you are feeling a bit festive. I hope that maybe has inspired you for some of your makes. Other things that are pretty good, I think, as gifts are dishcloths, face wipes, so little circles of crochet on a cotton that you can use to take off makeup at night. Things that are, you know, reusable and kind for the environment are very nice gifts. And yeah, I hope that's inspired you to maybe take on a little bit of last minute knitting for gifts or crocheting. This does, just up front, while I remember, because I haven't shown you its bottom. I never thought I would say showing you a bottom on YouTube. Is that naughty? Is that classed as naughty? So this hasn't got very much in it, so it's not as neat. But I haven't blocked these, but what I will do is lay them over a mason jar quickly, or a jam jar, and give it a little steam, so it gives it a nicer shape. But I use crochet for this little circular bit, and the reason for me was that I don't enjoy working very small circumferences. I don't love magic loop, and I do not enjoy DPNs. I might try some of the flexi ones eventually, but I don't want to purchase any more needles. I really don't have a need for more, and if I can find a way of getting around it, I will. So I did a crochet bottom. So yeah, I thought it was quite cool. It looks nice, it's sturdy, and actually because of using, so you hold 3 yarns together, I think I mentioned that. It's got a nice little bit of extra weight to it, so it stands up nicely even on my hand, and there's quite a bit of strength in it. So you can see into your dice. Yeah, really happy with this, and I hope that you enjoy that token little gift. I will upfront say it's not been tech edited, so if you do spot any errors, I have done my absolute best and I've knitted 5 of them with no issue, but feel free to get in touch. I will post an update should anything change, but I think I'm quite confident in it so far. So yeah, that is everything. It is really drawing close to Christmas if you're celebrating, or whatever you're celebrating, even the solstice, which I'm quite looking forward to. Oh hey, you're awake. Oh, you sweetheart. And yeah, it's been such a blessing having this little space. I'm so glad that you've joined me yet again, and I hope to see some of you over on Discord. I'm quite looking forward to some knit nights coming up now there's a bit more time. In personal news, we've had a little bit of you know when everything goes a bit Pete Tong, a bit wrong, from MOT failures to broken phones, which is not stressful, like it's not the end of the world, but it does obviously cause stress, to kind of work-based woes which are now settled, and that's not Alex. Alex doesn't have work woes, he loves his job. He's a tea blender, in case anyone hasn't got that already, and brews beer. Fuggle is a type of hop, and that's why his character's called that. Anyway, yeah, so I've had a few weeks of feeling a bit strange, to be honest, and now I feel a lot more settled and really quite excited to share the energy I have with people and makers and family and friends. And oh no, I thought she was ready to do a bit of adventuring for the day. So yeah, anyway, I do really hope you're well. I hope you've had some time to sit and knit or crochet or make. I hope that you've got a little bit of inspiration for potential gifts, and I hope I get to see you again very soon. Thank you so much, and as Matt Mercer would say, don't forget to love each other.
hat.